a time to be living in. There's this dark cloud of COVID, but there's silver lining that is suddenly the need for your sorts of products. It must be quite a psychological, emotional wrench for you, Aaron, but I'm interested in whether you think this pull it forward mentality, this sort of demand for your product, is it just pushing away demand for next year, or is it going to continue to ramp up?
Yeah, well, first to your initial point, we couldn't imagine a scenario that would be less desirable to be, succeeding in than obviously during a pandemic and the economic environment that we're seeing, and our, hearts and financial resources in many cases are going out to those impacted. At the same time, we founded Box 15 years ago, and the whole concept of Box was we wanted to make it easy for companies and individuals to be able to work from anywhere, share with anyone, collaborate securely. And so we've seen a healthy growth of banks and healthcare providers and life sciences firms and universities that want to be able to drive continued business performance or be able to serve their customers, whether they're students or citizens or clients. And our platform and many others like WebEx or Zoom or Slack and other technologies are being leveraged at this time to be able to make sure that organizations and communities can remain resilient. So we're proud of the work that we're doing, and obviously, we want to try and get past this period of economic disruption as quickly as possible. To your point about pulling in demand, I think there is a dynamic of that, which is we're sort of seeing a rapid accelerant to digital transformation. At the same time, I think it's important to remember that these markets are so much larger than many times we initially realized. If you look at the enterprise software industry, just even 15 or 20 years ago, there were maybe tens of millions of individuals that could actually use enterprise software technology to do their job. Today, there's billions of people globally that can use products like Salesforce or Slack or Zoom or Microsoft Teams or WebEx or products like Box. And so the markets are much larger. These are global platforms. Yeah. Obviously, they can serve customers very efficiently because they're 100% digital. And so I think you're still going to see many, many years of growth, even though we're seeing a pull-in of that transformation in a near time period.
And so with regards to that growth, and particularly on the expansion of sort of more and more companies and more industries embracing these types of services, where are you seeing specifically in terms of industries and sectors the most growth potential?
Yeah, I think, certainly right now, the industries that you're seeing rapid acceleration in are industries that are quickly transforming their business models or their products or their services or their employee experiences to be able to improve operating in a social distanced world. So this is everything from banks and retailers and technology companies and professional services firms. We've worked with major government agencies that need to digitize their processes so they can continue to serve their constituents. We worked with healthcare providers that are trying to rapidly respond to COVID and be able to share data with researchers. So I think you're seeing just again, a pull forward of business model transformation, the kind of things that we've been talking about for 5 or 10 years, where we know that more and more of the economy is going to go digital. Well, this is a catalyst that's accelerating that, beyond, I think, what anybody would have imagined initially.
Are you worried that your exposure to more of the smaller and medium-sized businesses could hurt growth if that area of the economy is weakest at this moment?
We have that modeled in, and so we did raise our revenue guidance for the year, which included modeling in the fact that we are seeing softness in certain SMB segments. At the same time, there are some sectors within SMB, again, in tech and finance, life sciences, retail that are experiencing a lot of growth, especially if you're in the supply chain of any of those industries that are growing rapidly. And again, for Box, we have 100,000 customers globally, which is, in enterprise software, a fairly large number. But in terms of the global economy, it's actually a pretty small number of the number of businesses today that we even serve. And so there's still tremendous potential if you think about all the businesses that need to be able to actually save money by moving to the cloud or improve security or improve productivity. And that's, I think, the underlying trend here is that companies were spending way too much money when they manage this technology themselves inside their data centers in an on-premises system. So in many cases, cloud growth is growing while companies are actually spending less money on either IT overall or their operating expenses of running their businesses.
Aaron, We're having a serious conversation, but I also know you're a pretty humorous guy. Certainly you get that feeling when you follow you on social media. And I'm interested by, well, you've been making some great statements, sort of the amusement and the fact that you don't perhaps understand business anymore when you're seeing companies such as Walmart go to buy up TikTok. But I'm interested also in your perspective of the IPOs. You made a statement saying on Monday that this must be a world record, 4 enterprise software IPO filings in one day. What does it feel like to be in the tech sector? What does it feel like to be in the enterprise tech sector? Does it feel believable?
There's definitely some very surreal things happening on the TikTok point. I think more of the curiosity and fascination is just the names that are involved in buying the asset, and it's actually more of the configurations and the pairings that I find fascinating. So Microsoft plus Walmart or Oracle. These are not necessarily your classic social media technology acquirers, but again, I'm watching with quite a high degree of fascination, and I'm sure that there's some underlying great strategies. I've read great ideas around why Walmart should own TikTok from a e-commerce and branding standpoint. So I think there are some plays that make sense, but it's a very unusual process to have the government really kind of be the catalyst for this type of M&A flurry. On the enterprise technology side, what we're seeing in Silicon Valley is, first of all, these are companies that the companies today that are going public are companies that were founded 10 years ago. So they've had time to mature, they've had time to build out their platforms and serve customers. But you are seeing a wave of infrastructure and technology providers that are experiencing resilience in their business models, resilience in their platforms. Their customers are relying on them to run their businesses in a digital fashion, and you will continue to see that going forward. I think we're seeing more innovation in this sector than any other time period in history, and that's only going to increase as more and more businesses and more consumers move to digital platforms for their healthcare experiences and their education experiences and their financial services experiences. The technology that underpins powering those experiences are all going to be from enterprise software providers that will just continue to grow during this time.